Hey guys, Gareth here from Noa. I'm joined by Rahul Dewan, one of the editors here at Noa. We have a fascinating series for you on the Wirecard saga, who the company is, what happened, and how it unfolded. So Rahul is going to talk us through a little bit more. He's the editor that kind of put not just this particular series together, but multiple other series on the Wirecard saga dating back to 2018. So Rahul, who is Wirecard?
So Wirecard is a multi-billion-dollar German financial services company. It was mainly focused on payment processing, and it had significant operations in Asia. Until recently, it was a darling of the German stock market, and in some circles seen as Germany's answer to the Silicon Valley innovation in technology, if you will.
So yeah, tech-based financial services company and an absolute golden child of Germany. So Rahul, what happened at Wirecard that is kind of brought to the fore right now?
So look, this was a company that was started in the early 2000s, and it has grown from strength to strength over the last couple of decades. I think as early as 2008, there were some question marks raised about its accounting irregularities within its financial statements. But it was just one that retail investors fell in love with and continued to support the stock price. 2015, Financial Times started covering it and starting exposing more and more incriminating evidence against the company. However, investors continuously overlooked this, and it was not until this year that I think everyone across the market started taking these claims seriously, and the fraud was finally exposed.
And you say fraud, so kind of gives a sense of what happened in terms of what did the company do to sort of cause these account irregularities?
So I'm gonna oversimplify this just to I guess make it more digestible. This was a company that was, irregardless of the sector it was in or the macroeconomic situation at the time, it was growing continuously. And it was eventually found out that a great engine of its growth was creating fictitious customers that did not exist in Asia and the Middle East, that were generating huge amount of revenue and even greater profits for the company. It was not until 2019 that using documents from a whistleblower, Financial Times were able to reveal that a lot of these customers, if you will, that were supposedly worth a lot to the company just did not exist.
Is it true that they had toasted €2 billion overseas that didn't actually exist?
Well, 1.9, Gareth, to correct you, but yeah, that is the sum of it. It was 1.9 billion euros that the company claimed to have as cash on their balance sheet, just did not exist. And these were bank accounts that its auditor, Ernst & Young, over a number of years signed off on. I guess what it was later on proved was, I guess as an auditor, your key role is to continuously question the validity of statements companies make. But in this case, EY was more than happy to take Wirecard's word, essentially, that this 2 billion did exist and they didn't need to worry about it.
So how did the company begin to unravel?
So in 2019, Dan McCrum, who was the lead journalist at the Financial Times covering the story, he managed to get access to documents from a whistleblower that really solidified the claims that the Financial Times had been making against the company. Cutting a long story short, the public revelation of these documents sparked a special investigation at Wirecard, the company. What the special investigation involved was bringing in a new auditor to confirm the various claims being made by all parties.
Yeah.
And it was this auditor, KPMG, that refused to sign off on the accounts because they did not have proof for the 1.9 billion euros we referenced.
So many different financial institutions, investors, hedge funds and so forth made huge amounts of money on the back of Wirecard falling to near zero. How did that happen?
Within financial markets, the way you bet against a company is through short selling. I think Wirecard is a really interesting example where the timing when you made that bet would have really impacted your outcomes. So let's just say you were the first hedge fund that brought the accounting irregularities to life in 2008.
Yeah.
It's highly likely, well, you would have lost money on it. And there are cases that a lot of hedge funds actually lost money on the hedge fund trade.
Even though they bet against.
Exactly, because this fraud and the claims against it were outstanding for over a decade.
So basically, if you're going to short a company, you better hope it goes bust pretty soon after you take out a position.
Exactly. I think that's they continuously say this with short selling. It's timing is almost as important as your thesis.
Okay.
Yeah,
makes sense. And at one point, short sellers were limited in terms of what they could do with the company. Why was that?
So this was if I think this was 2018, 2019. The German regulator was still very much on the side of Wirecard and believed that the Financial Times was working in conjunction with hedge funds to push the price down of Wirecard. So
that was a conspiracy.
Exactly. So the regulator stepped in and banned short selling for 2 months, I believe.
If you find the Wirecard story as interesting as we do, and you want to learn more about the company and the backstory and some of the characters that were involved, including a Russian guy who was their COO who is now on the run, pop over to the Noa app, listen to some of our series and articles on it, and you won't be disappointed. This, on a story of corporate scandal, goes from Enron to Bernie Madoff, now to Wirecard. This is a fascinating story, and it really is one that you should be tuning into.